Glenn Griffith, class of '61, and I chair an initiative by the Kingston branch of the RMC Club called the RMC Heritage Working Group. With me is Ross McKenzie, class of '70, who is the RMC Museum Curator.
The museum has been operated as a part-time operation for most of its existence, and the last 3 years I have been the full-time museum curator, but I'm also used as the heritage officer for the college with responsibilities far beyond just the collection itself. With the thousands and thousands of objects that we have in the collection, the requirements for cataloging, inventory, security checks, NPF inventory, Canadian Forces quarterly security checks on the weapons, it's a vast amount of administration and work far beyond now the capability of just one person alone. If the RMC Museum is truly to exhibit a display of excellence, which it rightly deserves, we need the proper resources and the proper personnel.
Our goal is to use these priceless items to display the contributions of the margin of excellence contributed by ex-cadets over their lifetime.
(2,828) young men enrolled at the Royal Military College in Kingston, Ontario as cadets between 1876 and 1942. The individual personal files of these cadets are a significant part of the historical record of the college. They are stored in the archives of the RMC Museum. The first cadet file of Alfred Wertel, and this file is the last file of our set, Keith Dean, number 2,828, who entered the college in 1940. These files contain documents from birth certificates and high school academic records to the term exam results at RMC and medical records. They provide a fascinating record of life and the rigor at the college. The Kingston branch of the RMC Club of Canada undertook to improve the storage conditions of these files by interleafing every leaf of every document of every file with acid-free paper. This project took 4 years of monthly work sessions between 2007 and 2011. The boxes are labeled and stored in the climate-controlled area of the museum and are available to researchers. The importance of these files is emphasized by the knowledge that files of cadets from 1948 to 2005 seem to have been lost. This is a painting of Colonel Reginald Sawyer, who was the director of studies at the college for many years. It hung in the lobby of a building that bears his name, and over the years had some damage. There was a tear in the painting about this location, and this painting has been restored through the efforts of a local conservator funded by the Kingston branch of the Royal Military College of Canada. These are a few items from a very extensive collection numbering a few hundred, donated by the family of number 1271 Douglas Frederick. The collection was cataloged and photographed by volunteers from the Kingston branch of the RMC Club in a timely manner and is now part of the collection in the RMC Museum.
Here we have the official portraits of King George and Queen Mary. These valuable prints with original signatures by the King and the Queen. They were restored by donations from ex-cadets from the Kingston branch, and high quality UV protective glass was put over each print to protect it from the light damage that they were suffering here in the small dining room. And just off to my right, we have a small portion of the well-known Leinster plate that's been a prominent part of the college collection since the 1920s. And that, as you probably know, is the regimental silver of the 1st Battalion of the Leinster Regiment that was raised here in Canada in 1858 as the Royal Canadian Regiment, and was the last British Army Regular Regiment raised in Canada. What we have here is an example of a recent acquisition by the museum, a donation from the family of an ex-cadet, number 2026 Cape, who served with the Royal Canadian Artillery in the Second World War. He commanded a medium regiment in Italy. This is a record of his service showing his badges that he wore, the miniatures, his rank badges showing his promotions, and then his subsequent post-war service as a brigadier commanding the militia district in Montreal. Kate became a very famous engineer, running an engineering firm out of Montreal in the post-war years. What's intriguing about this new material is his map board with trace still evident on the talc, and the trace, I checked the official history of the Italian campaign, and the battle that he left on his trace is actually one of the accounts here in the official history. This material just recently acquired. It's as yet uncatalogued. It's waiting now in the backlog of material with many other recently acquired pieces that need proper inventory, a proper accounting, and a proper cataloging.
This is the oldest cadet uniform in the museum at the Royal Military College. It belonged to number 7 Irving, who was a member of the first class to join in 1876.
This is a prime example of the type of material that the RMC Museum collection consists of. This indeed is a national treasure. There's a presentation Wilkinson sword presented to General Sir Archie MacDonald by the officers of the 1st Canadian Division at the end of the First World War. The sword was specially ordered for Sir Archie. It's inscribed to him. The blade is decorated with maple leaves and his family crest. And on the other side of the blade is a complete listing of all the battle honors of the 1st Canadian Division. And you've probably noticed the red patch, the old red patch that Sir Archie was so proud of, the battle patch of the 1st Division. And on the scabbard is decorated with miniatures of Sir Archie's orders and decorations. It's truly a national treasure. Okay, this is one drawer in our handgun storage facility. This particular drawer has Colt firearms, some nice single-action Army pieces, and in particular we have this Colt Frontier model, which in itself doesn't look like much, but it's the provenance of the piece that makes it such an interesting item. This was the pistol of Frank James, brother of Jesse James, famous desperado in the American Wild West. A priceless piece of Americana, and the reason we have it in our collection is that his great-grandson was an ex-cadet. Well, we're standing here in Baronial Hall, well known to us all. The stairwell of Curry Building, including of course Baronial Hall on the 2nd floor, has recently been refurbished to rejuvenate it. It was getting very tacky, but now we have an art display throughout the whole 3 floors of the building, and we are about to propose a decorative paint scheme inspired by the original architect's proposal for Curry Building, which will call for provincial shields and military crests on the shields on the pillars behind us, and perhaps coat of arms on the ceiling. The area here, now that it's suitable and worthy of the college, is an ideal spot for additional museum displays up and down the hallways of Curry Building and in Baronial Hall itself.
To achieve this will require 2 things. First, the museum curator is overloaded, and a full-time museum technician is required to resolve the increasing workload. Second, funding will be required to purchase professional-grade display cases and to develop and maintain truly inspirational displays worthy of the college. This can only be achieved by generous support from the donors through the RMC Foundation.